anointed one. Isn't that what Islam teaches? Esau was anointed, Musa was anointed, the prophets were anointed, but there is one who is the most anointed one, and he will come from the desert with a desert philosophy. What does it say? Yeshua said, do not go. Don't go spiritually. Don't go physically. Don't lend your ears. Don't lend your heart. Do not go. Do we love Muslims? Absolutely. We love them enough to tell them the truth about Yeshua's blood. But I will not go and sit in the midrasa and learn that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is prophet. I'm not going. You can go. I'm not going. That's the warning. Do not go. Yeah, but wait a second. Every religion teaches some good things. Do not go after this desert philosophy. But wait a second. We don't want to condemn a whole group of people. We want to learn and pick up some of the good things that we can learn. Do not go. Fox News says that there are good Muslims and there are bad Muslims. True. But a good Muslim is killed by the bad Muslims because they don't practice Islam the way the bad Muslims do. Let's continue. Yeshua is saying to his Talmidim, to who? To the elect and to the chosen. He's talking to who? Both houses of Israel, Jewish and non-Jewish Israel. And he's saying, brethren, don't go after that lie. Because the Mashiach came out of Bethlehem in Judah, not out of the desert in the last days. Do not go after that lie, even though most of the world will. Okay? Even though most of the world will, don't go after that lie. Even those who don't practice Islam see Muhammad as a good teacher, as a potential, somebody that we can learn things from. Yeshua said, don't go there. We didn't invent that term, don't go there. Yeshua said, don't go there. Well, my brother's in it, my brother's in it, and my sister's in it. Now you're talking from your emotions. In the hood, I know 5 people who are, and they don't kill, and they're... Don't go there. See, now you're talking from your emotions. Yeshua's talking about a specific group of people with proclaiming another anointed one who's going to come from the desert. Our Mashiach didn't come from the desert. He came, he ascended from Jerusalem. And brother, why do you gaze into heaven, looking at heaven, at those things? Because this same Yeshua, whom you have seen go into heaven, will return in like manner from heaven. He went up from Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives, and he will return to the Mount of Olives. Not from the desert, but he will be a great miracle worker. You can perform no greater miracle than flying away to heaven on a horse. But then, of course, he returned back from heaven to die. According to the Quran, he didn't stay in heaven. He came back from heaven and then died. But don't miss this. We continue in verse 26. Is anyone enjoying?
Amen.
Mattityahu 24:26. Therefore, if they, who's they? A specific message propagated by a what? Specific group of people. There's one group who proclaims a Messiah coming from the desert, a philosophy, a religion coming from the desert. If they say to you, what? Ahí, viene aquí. He's in the secret rooms. Believe it not. Believe it not. Hello, what is this whole chapter talking about? In the end of days, the kingdom of light versus the kingdom of darkness. Secret rooms, when you see the abomination of desolation, do not, what? Be deceived. What rooms is Yeshua talking about? The secret rooms under Al-Aqsa, where no one ever goes. You know that? You know Muslims are not allowed to go under Al-Aqsa because that's where certain rituals are performed, certain religious duties. There are certain rooms in the Al-Aqsa Mosque and even in the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount where there are secrets and no one's allowed to enter. Can this be a reference to the secret rooms of the Al-Aqsa Mosque? I believe it could be. He's talking about some secret rooms on the Temple Mount. And if he wasn't talking about secret rooms on the Temple Mount, he wouldn't tell you to study and understand and read and comprehend the abomination of desolation. These secret rooms are connected to the understanding of the abomination of desolation. When you understand that these are secret rooms where the anti-Messiah's faith is established, and into one of these secret rooms he will enter and declare himself to have the power of the Almighty to give life and death. Now look at verse 27. Are you beginning to see this clearly? When they, who? This guy's followers. Where's this philosophy going to come from? The desert. The desert. What desert? The Arabian desert. Saudi Arabia, Mecca is in Arabia. Arabia is in the desert. It is the only religion on earth that believes in a coming Messiah to establish a kingdom whose philosophy emanates and was birthed in the desert. And Yeshua said, look, verse 25, the dude's not here yet. Look at verse 25, that's what he said, the dude's not here yet. See, I'm telling you, before the desert philosophy is manifested. This is a warning to both houses of Israel, Jewish and Christians, Jewish and non-Jewish Israel, to prepare and be alert and study and read the abomination of desolation, because within the abomination of desolation, the anti-Mashiach will enter into one of the secret rooms to propagate the faith of the desert today. It's the faith of the desert that's propagated from those secret rooms. Look at verse 27. For as the lightning comes out of the east, the true Mashiach, and shines to the west, so shall also the coming of the Ben Adam be. For wherever the dead body is in the great tribulation, there will the eagles be gathered together. Now immediately after the great tribulation of those days, verse 29, the sun will be darkened, the moon shall not give its light, the Kochavim shall fall from the Shamayim, and the powers of the Shamayim shall be shaken. Now, these are the signs of Yeshua's coming after the tribulation. People ask me all the time, dear brother Moshe, when is Yeshua coming? Are we going to be raptured? Are we going to go to rapture? I mean, the pre-tribulation, mid-tribulation, post-tribulation? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Immediately after the tribulation, then Yeshua comes. He says, when the stars fall, when the moon doesn't shine, when the sun is permanently, not an eclipse, permanently blacked out. Has any of that happened? Has the sun been permanently blacked out? No. So the sign of his coming is, Master, what shall be the sign of thy coming? Matthew 24:3, and the end of the age. The sign of his coming and the end of the age is cosmic disturbance that happens after the Great Tribulation. There's one sign of his coming. There's many signs of the season of his coming, but there's only one sign of his coming, cosmic disturbance. The sun will be darkened, the moon will be turned to blood, the Kochavim shall fall from the Shamayim, and the powers of the Shamayim shall be shaken. Now learn, notice, you learn, you study, you read, learn a parable of the fig tree, the fig eggs. In other words, what are we supposed to do to understand Matthew 24? What are we supposed to do to understand this chapter? Number one, we are to what? Read Daniel. Why would we have to read Daniel if we fly away to heaven? There's no need to read Daniel in heaven. There's a need to read Daniel on the earth to know those things that are coming upon the earth. You don't need the book of Daniel in heaven. You're in his presence. You know all things. You'll be known even as he knows you now. You'll know him even as he knows you now. 1 John 3:2. Brethren, it does not yet appear what we shall, but we know we shall be like him, for we shall see him when, then we shall see him as he is. Now look at verse 32. Now learn, my people, my both the elect and the chosen, both houses. The elect